Hey guys, Constance here from Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I have been outside working on a project and I needed to get in here and get dinner going because this is kind of one of those cooks forever, fall apart tender sorts of things. I am making some sour cream cube steaks, and this is a recipe that has been on my website forever. It's one of my oldest recipes. So what I'm doing here is I'm heating up some olive oil and butter combined because I'm going to brown these steaks before they go into the oven and bake and get all amazing. So I need to get that oil heated up. So in my little pan here, I created a seasoned dredge. I have all-purpose flour, paprika, dry mustard, and just some salt and pepper, very basic ingredients. And I'm just going to kind of mix those together. So the last time I did a cube steak recipe, I had someone ask me what cube steaks are. Cube steaks are basically like a round steak that have been run through a device that tenderizes the steak, and it makes it almost look like a hamburger patty, but it is actually a steak that's just been tenderized. And so some places call it something else, but I've always known it as a cube steak, and so that's what I call it. Turn that up. You need to get this oil nice and hot. You want it hot, but not smoking hot. So let me double check my oven temperature because I need to get my oven going too. Alright, so this is going to bake at 350. Okay. Alright, I think we will call that ready. Turn that down. So now I'm just going to take my cube steaks. I'm going to dip them in the flour, seasoned flour. Get them good and coated. And then I'm just going to gently, carefully put them into the hot oil. And I'll just do a few at a time because I don't want to crowd the pan. And we're just going to brown these on each side. Matter of fact, I might get another skillet going. That way I can get these done a little bit quicker. I'm trying to get some stuff done outside while I have the light to do it. Alright, heat up oil. Alright, so as I said, we're just going to brown this on each side, and while those are doing that, I will start mixing together the ingredients for the sauce. So I've got a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and I'm going to add 1/3 cup of soy sauce, and 1.5 cups of sour cream, which is going to end up being probably this entire container, because ounces wise, that's about 1.5 cups. So I'm just going to add this whole cream in there. Need 1/2 cup of water. And I'm just going to whisk these together. And I actually really hate this whisk. It's floppy. It might be silicone coated, but it is almost impossible to actually whisk anything. So I'm basically just going to whisk this and break up the sour cream. Get this all mixed together as smoothly as I can. Okay, so now I'm just going to be waiting on these to brown up. In the meantime, I'm going to dice a small onion, or half a normal onion. Alright, now I'm just going to let that sit here while I finish browning up the rest of the cube steaks. Okay, so I've got all but one steak finished, and I've got my large skillet over here. I removed most of the oil from the skillet, but I just left a little bit in there. I'm just going to saute these onions for just a minute. Let them start to soften up just a hair. I left, I would say, maybe a tablespoon or so of oil in the skillet here. So while that last steak is browning, these can begin to soften a little bit. Now, I said I hate this whisk, but it's not that I hate the whisk. You just can't whisk like a bowl of something with this because it is very soft. However, if you're doing like a skillet where you can press it on a flat surface while you're using it, it works fine for that. So I use it in skillets all the time. I don't use it in a bowl of something that I'm trying to whisk. And check the steak here. Oh, gorgeous. Look at that brown color. Perfect. Turn that off. I'm going to set this one over here in the pan. So now at this point, I've got all of my cube steaks browned and in this baking dish. And I'm just going to say that that is good enough for the onions. So now what I'm going to do, let me lower that down a little bit, I'm just going to take my sauce that I mix up here. I'm going to pour it into the pan. And I'm just going to whisk this all together. Let it kind of pull all the brown bits off the bottom of the skillet there. Get all that flavor and everything. That'll about do it. A couple pot holders here. This is going to be heavy. And I'm just going to take this sauce and I'm going to pour it all over the top of the steaks. I'm just going to dirty every utensil I have today, I think. All right, I'm just going to kind of spread that over, make sure all of the steaks are covered with the sauce. Okay. Now I'm just going to take a sheet of foil. I'm going to cover this pan, and I'm going to seal it nice and tight because this is going to bake for an hour and a half. So you want to make sure you seal all that moisture inside the pan. And again, hour and a half at 350 degrees. And while that is baking, I'm going to clean up my mess here and then go back outside and get a little more work done. Alright, before I head outside and get everything done, the last thing I need to wash up is my smaller skillet here. I've already got my big one washed. Now, when you are cooking something in cast iron and it has flour, that is one of those things that a lot of times you'll have bits that want to stick to your skillet. And the easy way to get the food unstuck, even with a seasoned cast iron skillet, sometimes things with starch will try and do that, you know, flour. Just wipe out all of the food, get everything out that you can. Put about a ½ inch or so of water in your skillet, turn on the stove, let it start boiling, and that just loosens everything up and it comes right off. And then you can just clean your cast iron normally like you usually do. See? Nice and clean. Just wet. Alright, you guys, so dinner has been in here baking while I've been outside working. I am covered in concrete dust. So dinner is done. Got some mashed potatoes, some sweet peas, and the sour cream cube steaks. So we're going to enjoy dinner and then I will be taking a shower because I am filthy. Now, sour cream cube steak is kind of like the German cabbage soup recipe that I shared a couple weeks ago. When it's done cooking, it's not the most photogenic food in the world. It's kind of brown, kind of ugly, but it is delicious, just like that cabbage soup. So don't let the ugly appearance fool you. Looks can be deceiving. Oh, and I just wanted to mention, I was outside, and as I walked past the compost area, look what I found. Full grown loofahs. And not a one from the garden. I'm just saying. Alright, so let me open this up without burning myself here. So, like I said, it is not photogenic. It's actually kind of ugly looking, but it is amazing. There is a reason that this was one of the very first recipes I ever posted online anywhere, because it is just so good. Alright, so I'm going to try and plate this up, make it look a little bit presentable. Alright guys, so Mr. Smith and I fixed our plates and we are getting ready to go eat dinner. So I will be updating this recipe tomorrow with a couple fresh photos and everything, but again, like I said, don't judge a book by its cover. This is one of those foods that it may not be the prettiest thing, but it is so good. So I will put a link to this recipe down below where you can find it and get all of the measurements and all of that. Mr. Smith and I are going to enjoy our supper. So thanks for joining me here in the homestead kitchen. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.